How about the Soul Regum, Luxuria stuff? Everything with Kareem. Like, how do you feel about that?
So I know a lot of people are going to feel like, people who don't, this is going to sound so condescending, people who don't understand stories are going to be very critical. They're like, that was all for nothing yet. It was all for nothing. All that whole plot line, and then it just gets wrapped up. I was like, yeah, it got wrapped up. That was the story. That was the whole point of the plot line, is that, they get this army and then he fails. Like, that was the whole point. But I've already seen, sorry if I thought frustrating, I've already seen people complaining about it, like, oh, so glad that plot line is over now because blah, blah, blah. And it was like, well, the whole point of it was, to lead to this moment. I loved it. So I completely misunderstood what was happening, though, when I watched it. So I thought that Soul Regum betrayed them. And that he never intended to help them, and that he had always intended to fly off and attack the human kingdoms, like how he was trying to do with Ilarion in the flashback, which is totally how I read that. But everybody I talked to was like, no. It was Erebos manipulating him through the guy because he couldn't see it. I was like, oh yeah, that probably was what they were intending for me to understand what's going on. And I was like, actually, I think that's probably right.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
What do you think?
Agreed with you. I thought Soul Regum was intending to betray.
Right? Yeah, that's what I was just assuming.
I never really thought of it from that perspective.
Right. So, but my question is like, so if he was being misled, like if I forgot his name, the guy, the Sunfire priest on his back, was like, okay, we're gonna go and attack the soldiers. Well, I mean, how far did they have to fly to Katolas? Like, was there no question? Like, so how much longer is this? I don't know. It's like, wait, I thought we were attacking an army, not a city. Maybe it's a little more unclear than than I was thinking it was.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been the biggest fan of that plot line. In my mind, I've compared it more than once to the Dorn plot line. Never positive.
Right.
But I think the ending was probably as good as I could have hoped for that. Like, I don't know, it felt relevant and, thematically meaningful in a way that the plotline didn't always feel inside some of these past seasons. And just, I like what it built up to. I love Kareem there at the end, like, realizing that Soul Regum is not coming to help him, and then
so gross.
The army just was getting slaughtered.
But it's so good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I love the interaction between him and Soul Regum, just about the eyes and the wings, and like how it's attempt for first wanting to restore the eyes, and then restores the wing with his head. So fiery devastation, like and it fits the season too, because this season does so much with eyes as a motif. So it really feels.
Yeah, there's motifs. That's great. I love that. I don't think there was a motif in season 4.
Yeah, I love the way we have the eyes here, and we have the the elves with the blindfold, Star Scraper. Yeah, and it just really fits what the seasons keeps emphasizing is, the idea of blindness, the idea of from a metaphorical thematic angle, just being so overwhelmed with single desire or single obsession that it just completely blinds one to every other concern or consideration, which is what we've seen with Vera and what we've seen with Claudia, as well what happened with Erebos to an extent, as we see in his backstory, just this so overwhelming obsession and the blindness that causes. So having that kind of tied into this motif with the eyes with Soul Regum, and then the elves, also the Star Scraper throughout the season. It worked really well.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I loved the season. I compared it to season 2, which I think is probably the strongest season of the Dragon Prince. It's not my favorite. My favorite's still going to be 3, because that's the Raylan season. So it's got to be 3 for me. But I think as far as like the type writing and character interactions and the lore, it's just like so on point and so well constructed. I compared it to that. I was like, this is some good stuff. Oh, what did you think of talking about the blind elves? What did you think of was it Astrid and 𝐀𝐧𝐝, the two new elves we meet?
They were interesting. They're interesting. I really like what they did with the whole kind of. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what it was, but they kind of went back in time. It seems like because I'm still trying to figure out what happened there. But I liked it. Where like Callum initially learns that the orb that he brings there is not the real orb, but then that revelation makes him so despondent that he doesn't want to do anything. So that it's like they kind of go back in time and then don't tell him that, and so he just can complete what he's trying to do normally. But also as a result of that, he doesn't learn that he didn't actually bring the Erebos orb.
Right. This is a giant piece of candy. I have to remember you said. It's so that's how he was rolling. I love them. It was great seeing a brother and sister team again. It really reminded me of like Claudia and Sword back in the day. So that's always a good dynamic to see. Well, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was rewatching some of the old seasons of the show, and it's just in preparation. I mean, not as comprehensively as I think you and your Discord did, but I was watching some of them, and it's just kind of remarkable how far we've come. Like, I kind of forgot almost that there was this kind of romance or flirtation between Callum and Claudia.
Yeah, there was a full-blown love triangle. Yeah, this show had a love triangle in it. He's kind of crazy. I just rewatched it. And every time I rewatch it, I'm floored by how well written the dialogue is. How every joke is funny. How every dramatic line is so dramatic. It's just so well put together. And this season reminded me a lot of that kind of thing. When I wrote my review, I called it a triumphant return to form. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like, right, this feels right, like the Dragon Prince show that I was watching, 6 years ago. As opposed to it's getting different. This 4 and 5 seasons felt different. 4 more so than 5, but this one is like, yes, this is the show. They got the tone right, the characters right, the plotting right. Everything felt, from my opinion, it's just like perfect.
Yeah. I mean, there's still some things that always kind of bug me about the show, like the kind of Netflix cliffhanger ending.
It's almost like, what's even the point? Like, what's even the point of doing that when everybody is going to go immediately into the next episode? So, like, what's even the purpose of that? And then if it's a good cliffhanger, if it's like, ooh, I gotta see what happens next, well, then maybe somebody who might have stopped is then going to be like, I gotta see what happens next, and then just gonna play the next one. So it's like, yeah, it's interesting. I really wish that it was released weekly. I would love that. And I know that the show's creators, they talked about it on, I think it was on Twitter before, how they wish that could be the case too, but Netflix is just like, no. Netflix is like, no, the bench model is what we built this platform on. And I guess I can understand that.